480 BC, the narrow pass of Thermopylae. 300 Spartan warriors stand in formation, bronze helmets, red cloaks, shields locked. Behind them, 7,000 Greek allies. In front of them, the largest army the ancient world has ever seen. 200,000 Persians, maybe more. King Leonidas knows this is a suicide mission. He knows none of them are going home. But Spartans don't retreat. Spartans don't surrender. They fight. They die. They become legends. This is the most famous last stand in human history. Except, what if it didn't end that way? What if, on the morning of the third day of battle, a platoon of 40 modern U.S. Army soldiers materialized in the pass? M4 rifles, body armor, night vision, grenades, communication systems, the best training the 21st century can provide. How would the Spartans react? Would they see them as allies? As threats? As gods? Welcome to What If War. Today, we're dropping modern infantry into the ancient world's most legendary battle, and we're about to find out if Spartan warriors and modern soldiers can even speak the same language. The language of war. Let's understand who the Spartans really are. These aren't just soldiers. They're the product of the most brutal military culture in human history. From age 7, Spartan boys are taken from their families and put into the agoge, the training program that will define their lives. They're starved, beaten, forced to fight each other, taught to endure pain without flinching, to steal food without being caught, to kill without hesitation. By the time they're 20, they're not men, they're weapons. Every Spartan warrior at Thermopylae has trained for warfare since childhood. They fight in the phalanx, a tight formation of overlapping shields and spears. Each man protects the man next to him. Break the line and you die. Hold the line and you're invincible. They wear bronze armor that weighs 60 pounds, carry a spear 8 feet long, a short sword called a xyphos for close combat, and a shield, the hoplon, 3 feet wide and made of wood and bronze. It's not just protection, it's a weapon. They bash with it, crush enemies, cover their brothers. But it's not the equipment that makes Spartans dangerous. It's the mindset. Spartans are taught from birth that dying in battle is the highest honor. That retreat is disgrace. That pain is temporary, but glory is eternal. King Leonidas himself is 50 years old, a veteran of countless battles. He chose to come here knowing he wouldn't return. He chose 300 men, all of them fathers with sons, so that their bloodlines would continue. This is a culture that worships death in combat, that sees warfare not as a necessary evil, but as the purest expression of manhood. They don't fear death, they embrace it. And now they're about to meet soldiers from a world where that mindset is considered insane. The modern platoon appears in a flash of light and confusion. 40 soldiers, standard infantry. They're equipped for deployment in Afghanistan or Iraq. M4 carbines with optics, plate carriers, radios, grenades, night vision, combat boots, MREs. They have ammunition for sustained combat, maybe 5,000 rounds total, enough for several firefights. The platoon leader, a lieutenant in his late 20s, immediately calls for a status check. Sound off. The squad leaders report in. Everyone's present. No injuries. But the GPS is dead. Radio is static. And when they look around, they see something impossible. Ancient Greek warriors, hundreds of them, standing in formation, shields, spears, bronze helmets, and in the distance, an army so vast it seems to cover the horizon. The lieutenant's training kicks in, defensive posture, find cover, assess the situation. The soldiers spread out, taking positions behind rocks. Weapons ready, but not aimed, not yet. They don't know who the friendlies are. King Leonidas sees the flash, sees the strangers appear. His first instinct is divine intervention. The gods have sent reinforcements, or perhaps a test. He approaches cautiously, 50 Spartans at his back. He sees the strangers' armor, strange and formless but clearly protective. Sees their weapons, metal sticks of some kind. Sees their faces, young, uncertain, afraid. Not the faces of warriors, not the faces of men ready to die. He speaks in ancient Greek. Who are you? What God sent you? The lieutenant doesn't understand the language, doesn't recognize it. He raises his hand, palm out, universal gesture for stop, for peace. He tries English. We're U.S. Army. We're not hostile. We need to understand what's happening here. Leonidas hears gibberish. Strange sounds, not Persian, not any language he knows. But he sees the gesture, sees the caution. These are not warriors rushing to battle. These are men trying to avoid it. Leonidas doesn't know if he should be insulted or intrigued. One of the soldiers, a combat interpreter who speaks Farsi and Arabic, tries those languages. Nothing. Another soldier, a history buff, suddenly realizes where they might be. Sir, those are Greek helmets, Bronze Age Greek, the formations, the shields. This looks like ancient Greece. The lieutenant stares at him. You're saying we time-traveled? The soldier shrugs. I'm saying we're not in Kansas anymore, sir. The lieutenant makes a decision. He needs to establish communication. He points to himself. America. Points to his weapon. Gun. Makes a shooting gesture. Then points to the Persians in the distance. Enemy? Leonidas watches. The stranger is pointing at the Persians, making aggressive gestures. He understands. These men, whoever they are, see the Persians as the threat. Leonidas nods, points at his Spartans. Sparta, points at the Persians. Enemy, points back at the strangers. Ally. The lieutenant nods. Ally. The word doesn't translate, but the meaning is clear. We fight the same enemy. But the Spartans are confused. These strangers don't look like warriors. They're standing apart from each other. No shield wall, no formation. They carry sticks, not spears. They wear strange armor with pouches and straps. They look soft, undisciplined. One Spartan mutters to his comrade, "The gods sent us children." Another laughs, "Children with strange toys. Let's see how they die." But Leonidas is more observant. He sees the way the strangers move, purposeful, coordinated. The way they watch the Persians, assessing, calculating. These are not children. These are hunters. He doesn't understand their methods, but he recognizes the look in their eyes. They know how to kill. He decides to test them. He gestures to the Persian lines, thousands of soldiers, archers, cavalry. He makes a sweeping motion. Many, too many. Then points to his 300 Spartans. Few. He watches the stranger's reaction. The lieutenant understands. The Greeks are outnumbered. Badly. He looks at his platoon. 40 soldiers against 200,000. Even with modern weapons, those are impossible odds. But he also knows the strategic value of this pass. Narrow. Defensible. The Persians can't use their numbers here. He nods to Leonidas. We fight. Now here's where it gets interesting. How do modern soldiers and ancient Spartans fight together when they have completely different doctrines? Spartans fight in tight formation, shoulder to shoulder. Modern soldiers spread out, use cover and fire from distance. Spartans see dying in battle as glory. Modern soldiers see surviving the battle as success. The training is opposite, the mindset is opposite. But they're about to face a common enemy, and necessity creates strange partnerships. The lieutenant positions his platoon on the flanks of the pass, elevated positions, behind rocks, good fields of fire. He explains through gestures that his men will shoot from distance. Leonidas doesn't fully understand, but he agrees. The Spartans will hold the center, the phalanx, unbreakable. The strangers will do whatever they do from the sides. The Persians attack, wave after wave of infantry. The same tactic that historically battered against the Spartan phalanx for 3 days. They advance in tight columns, funneled by the narrow pass. The Spartans brace, shields up, spears leveled, and the modern soldiers open fire. The sound is apocalyptic. 40 M4 rifles firing in controlled bursts. The Spartans flinch. They've never heard anything like it. Louder than thunder, faster than thought. And the Persian front ranks collapse. Men fall by the dozens, clutching wounds they don't understand. There's no arrow, no spear, just blood and screaming. The Persians falter. What sorcery is this? Some flee. Others press forward, driven by commanders behind them. The Spartans, recovered from the shock charge. The phalanx surges forward, crashing into the disorganized Persian lines. Spears thrust, shields bash. It's brutal, close-quarters carnage. And the modern soldiers provide covering fire, picking off Persian officers, suppressing archer positions. The first Persian assault breaks, routs, flees back to their lines. The Spartans roar in triumph. They've held. And the strangers, these odd warriors with their thundersticks, they helped. Leonidas approaches the lieutenant during the lull. He grabs the lieutenant's weapon, examines it. The lieutenant tenses but allows it. Leonidas looks at the rifle. Metal, complex. He points at a dead Persian in the distance, points at the rifle, makes a connection. This weapon kills from afar, like a bow but louder, deadlier. He looks at the lieutenant with new respect, hands the weapon back, nods. You are a warrior. Different, but a warrior. The lieutenant understands the gesture. Mutual respect. He offers his hand. Leonidas looks at it, confused. The lieutenant remembers. Different culture. He instead places his fist over his heart. Leonidas mirrors the gesture. The language of respect is universal, even across millennia. The Persians attack again and again. Each time, the modern soldiers thin their ranks from distance. Each time, the Spartans finish them in melee. It's a deadly combination. Persian morale crumbles. They're facing men who can't be flanked in this narrow pass, who fight with inhuman ferocity, and who wield weapons that kill invisibly from impossible ranges. By nightfall, the Persians have lost thousands. The Spartans have lost 3. The modern soldiers have lost none, but they're running low on ammunition. The lieutenant does the math, 5,000 rounds. They've fired maybe 2,000. They have enough for one more major engagement. Maybe 2. And then they're down to knives and hand-to-hand. He explains this to Leonidas through gestures, shows an empty magazine, shakes his head. Limited, Leonidas understands. The magic weapons won't last forever. He nods. Then we use them wisely. That night, the Spartans and modern soldiers share a camp. It's awkward. The Spartans sit in groups, sharpening weapons, tending wounds without complaint. One Spartan has a spear wound through his shoulder. He doesn't even grimace as another Spartan cauterizes it with a hot blade. The modern soldiers watch, horrified and impressed. Their medic offers to help. Bandages, antiseptic. The Spartans refuse. Pain is weakness. Weakness is shameful. The medic insists. Infection will kill you. Through gestures and broken communication, he convinces them. The Spartan allows the treatment. When the antiseptic doesn't sting as much as expected, he looks disappointed. The modern soldiers share MREs. The Spartans try them. They're confused by the packaging but find the food acceptable. One Spartan tries the jalapeno cheese spread. His eyes water. The other Spartans laugh. It's the first time the modern soldiers hear them laugh. It sounds like gravel grinding. A young soldier, barely 20, sits next to a Spartan warrior. He's nervous. The Spartan is cleaning blood off his spear. The soldier tries to communicate, points to himself. Scared, points to the Persians. Too many. The Spartan understands. He points to himself, not scared, points to his shield, the lambda symbol on it. Sparta. He makes a gesture. Die here. Glory. The soldier understands. This man expects to die, wants to die in battle. The soldier shakes his head, points to himself, home, family, live. The Spartan looks at him with something like pity. He doesn't understand why anyone would want to survive if they could die gloriously. The cultural gap is a chasm. They're fighting the same battle but for completely different reasons. The next day, the Persians send their elite, the Immortals, 10,000 of the best warriors in the Persian Empire. They're called Immortals because when one dies, he's immediately replaced, so their number never diminishes. They're veterans, professionals. They advance in perfect formation. The Spartans respect this. These are real warriors, not the conscripts from before. Leonidas turns to the lieutenant, gestures to the immortals. Strong, dangerous. The lieutenant nods. His platoon is down to 1,000 rounds. They need to make every shot count. He gives the order, aimed fire. Officers first, then front ranks, conserve ammo. The immortals advance. The modern soldiers fire, precise, controlled. Persian officers fall. The formation wavers, but the immortals don't break. They charge. The Spartans meet them. The clash is thunderous. The phalanx holds, but barely. The immortals are skilled. They probe for weaknesses, target individuals. One Spartan falls, then another. The modern soldiers shift targets. They fire into the Persian flanks, suppressing, disrupting. The immortals can't organize a proper assault with men dying from invisible wounds. The battle rages for hours, brutal, exhausting. And finally, the immortals retreat. They've lost 1/3 of their number. The Spartans have lost 20. The modern soldiers are down to 300 rounds. Leonidas is wounded, a spear cut across his ribs. He refuses treatment until the battle is over. He looks at the lieutenant. The respect is clear. Without you, we would have fallen. The lieutenant understands the gesture. Without you, we would have been overrun. They fought together, bled together, and now they face a grim reality. The Persians have infinite numbers. The Spartans are dying, and the modern soldiers are almost out of ammunition. That night, Persian scouts find the mountain path, the same path that historically allowed them to flank the Greeks. Leonidas knows it's over. He turns to the lieutenant, makes a gesture. Leave. Escape. Save yourselves. The lieutenant shakes his head. We stay. We fight. Leonidas looks at him with surprise. These soft strangers are choosing death, choosing glory. He clasps the lieutenant's shoulder. You are Spartan in spirit. The final battle comes at dawn. Persians in front, Persians behind. The pass is surrounded. The Spartans form a circle. The modern soldiers take position in the center, providing covering fire in all directions. The last 300 rounds. The Persians attack from all sides. The modern soldiers fire until their magazines are empty. Then they fix bayonets, draw knives. The Spartans fight with the fury of men who know this is their end. They sing hymns to the gods. They call out the names of their wives and sons, and they die standing. The modern soldiers fight differently. They fight to survive, even knowing they won't. They fight with tactics, with training, with desperation. But in the end, they die the same way the Spartans do, standing, fighting, refusing to kneel. When the battle is over, the Persians find something strange among the Greek dead. 40 bodies in unfamiliar armor, carrying weapons they don't understand. King Xerxes himself examines one of the rifles. He orders his engineers to study it, to understand it. They can't. The technology is beyond them. Xerxes orders the strange weapons buried with their owners. And he commands his historians to record that on this day, Leonidas fought with allies sent by the gods themselves. The story spreads, becomes legend. In some versions, the strangers are divine warriors. In others, they're sorcerers. But in all versions, they fought like Spartans. And somewhere in the 21st century, 40 soldiers are listed as missing in action. Their families receive letters. Training accident. No remains recovered. The details are classified. The military investigates. Temporal anomaly. Unexplained phenomenon. The soldiers vanished during a live-fire exercise and never returned. Eventually, the case is closed, filed away. But certain historians notice something strange. Ancient Greek texts mention foreign warriors at Thermopylae, warriors with impossible weapons, warriors who fought and died alongside Leonidas. The texts are dismissed as mythology, but a few scholars wonder, what if? So let's ask the real questions. How would Spartans actually react to modern soldiers? With respect, once they proved themselves in combat, Spartans valued warriors above all else. If you could fight, if you could kill, if you could die with honor, you were worthy. The methods didn't matter. The courage did. Would they fight together effectively? Initially, no. The tactics are too different. But in a constrained environment like Thermopylae, where modern firepower can dominate and Spartans can hold the line, yes, they'd be devastating. Would modern soldiers adopt the Spartan mindset? Some of it. Combat creates bonds. Shared danger creates respect, but modern soldiers are trained to value survival, to complete the mission and come home. Spartans are trained to value glory, to die well. That gap never fully closes, and what does this scenario teach us? That warfare is universal. The tools change, the tactics evolve, but the core remains. Warriors recognize other warriors. Courage is courage. Sacrifice is sacrifice. Whether you're holding a spear in 480 BC or a rifle in the 21st century, the battlefield demands the same things: discipline, bravery, the willingness to stand when others run. The Spartans would see that in modern soldiers, and modern soldiers would see that in Spartans, separated by 2,500 years, united by blood and battle. So what do you think? Could Spartans and modern soldiers really fight together? Would the Spartans see modern weapons as cowardly or brilliant? And if you could bring one ancient warrior culture forward to train with modern forces, which would you choose? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're obsessed with these impossible crossovers between ancient and modern warfare, hit that subscribe button. Because next week we're asking, what if a modern submarine surfaced during the Battle of Trafalgar? Nelson's wooden ships versus nuclear torpedoes. It's going to be legendary. This has been What If War, where the past and future collide and honor transcends time. Stay curious, stay tactical, and remember, the greatest warriors aren't defined by their era. They're defined by what they're willing to sacrifice.